In his address, the President spoke of nurturing our Singapore society to be a we-first society. In his words, to put we before me. I find this idea extremely profound. If we first is internalized as a core and innate value that all of us carry deeply as Singaporeans, if we teach we first early in our young and in our schools as part of their journey in education, as part of their core values and as part of our collective identity as Singaporeans, and if we echo and remind ourselves of the resonance of we first in all that we do, it would be a most powerful enabler for Singapore society on several fronts. I will elaborate on these in my speech. First, through we first, our social cohesion would strengthen and bolster our unity as one people. Second, I would argue that we first would make our economic competitiveness as a people and nation more potent. And third, a lived ethos of we first would be the cornerstone of a caring and values-driven society. We first, Mr. Deputy Speaker, suggests a natural proclivity to look beyond ourselves for the collective good, an acknowledgement to give and take where it is needed and where it is appropriate and fair, a social milieu that must necessarily be rooted in trust and reciprocity, and a promotion of a shared sense of belonging, togetherness, safety, and a common purpose. It informs us that to achieve the optimized collective potential of our society, to realize the full potential of a whole that is far greater than the sum of all our parts, sometimes the unitary parts may require some sub-optimization and compromise. To be clear, in we first, it is never about a bargaining of our core identity as a people, nor the erosion of our diversity, but rather about embracing the process of finding our many points of synergy as a people and nurturing our harmony in concert with one another. In putting forward the we before me, we harness the scale and potential capital of the collective and maximize its multiplier effect into our equation of Singapore society. First, as alluded to by other honourable members prior, social cohesion is a primary outcome we want to drive in putting the we before me. I've argued before in this House that in wanting to strengthen social cohesion, we must let it be experienced in our everyday and in our common spaces, in our schools, in our neighbourhoods, in our residential estates, in our work and in our play. We must enable this by design. In our young, through our education curriculum, in our neighbourhoods, through how we plan for our public estates, in the gamut of programs in our workplaces and in our community. We must allow for the social interaction across differences to always occur and encourage different opportunities to meet, interface, and most importantly, mix. Like the proverbial melting pot holding the recipe of a brew, Mr. Deputy Speaker, it requires a variety of different spices and ingredients to hold at a constant stir, and it takes a while for a blended fragrance to emerge. Stop too early, it never quite works out. Too few of any one particular ingredient makes an attempt flat. Too long into the cooking, or if we turn up the heat too soon or too late, the recipe eludes us. Change the pot and the climate for the ingredients, a new approach and recipe would be required. Each spice and ingredient in the recipe of social cohesion is unique and stands on its own different identity. We can taste each and every one of them in the final brew. No one tells us how to do our recipe because it is our kitchen. Through we first, we allow for a common space to hold us together across differences, whether by language, by race, by religion, or even by age, to find the recipe for us and the rest of Singapore society. We must be broad-based in our approaches, actively reach out to include everyone in our midst, and work hard to keep our society close. A little tension and some discomfort can be expected. Where there are emerging weak points to the social equilibrium over time, our natural response must be to honestly examine the issue at hand, to challenge prevailing assumptions, and to ask ourselves if the policy remains relevant and what is it about this current recipe that needs tweaking moving forward. It does not mean we must agree all the time, but when we must disagree, respectful we remain in our exchanges and with an expressed mutual desire for co-collaboration of solutions that benefit all and for the greater good. Second, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we must recognize that espousing we first offers each and every one of us a comparative advantage economically. I know it sounds like a stretched argument, but let me explain. If we teach our young early in our schools and encourage every Singaporean to really live by the ethos of we first and guide them early to be comfortable in working with others different from us to achieve collaborative outcomes, to have the natural willingness and adaptability to together negotiate difficult problems and complex solutions, and to recognize the power in working as a team for the greater good, surely this is a desired trait that works to our advantage as a people. Singaporeans are known as a competitive and hardworking lot, but through the spirit of we first, if we are also known for our sense of community, our emotional intellect, our zeal to achieve consensus, the value we bring to any table becomes a potent force. Our value proposition to the workplace, to prospective employers, to other companies navigating the emerging economic challenges of the day will rise. Contrast this against the backdrop of societies today looking inwardly, polarizing narratives online that center around selfish and narrow ideals, and a lack of willingness or sometimes even ability to have deep, thoughtful conversations with nuance and to be comfortable in engaging complexity. If we first is personified in Singaporeans in finding solutions of tomorrow, we then become the natural team players, the future co-creators, and the firm collaborators, the ones whom others can count on to look across the aisle, to mediate, to discuss, and to engage with comfortably. This tells others that Singaporeans make for excellent hires locally and abroad, and that our companies make for trusted and reliable partners in any market for any opportunity. When we juxtapose that same mindset to a national level, and others recognize that Singapore is a country that is willing to work with others and achieve collective outcomes, and that it is in our psyche and persona as a nation to see past ourselves and bring goodness and benefit to the world, Singapore then becomes a trusted partner and facilitator in the room. As a country, we never start with a hard-nosed view to negotiations, nor do we willy-nilly or haphazardly take positions. Taking a we-first view, we start from the considered and deliberate approach to first seeking to understand the different starting positions. And others can appreciate that we have a reasonable willingness to negotiate and achieve mutual benefit so long as it is fair and just. From dealings in foreign affairs, to trade and industry, to policy positions in international stage and fora, this ethos of we first will carry us through as a nation, even in the most delicate of dealings and in the most turbulent of disagreements of the world. We first puts forth Singapore as a consistent, trusted, amiable, and dare I say, foremost partner and colleague of the international arena, whether in platforms such as ASEAN or the United Nations, or even as a diplomatic arbiter towards consensus and peace between the larger powers of the world. Beyond domestic considerations, I argue that the ethos of we first keeps Singapore squarely competitive, trusted, and relevant in the world as we observe and know it today. Third, Mr. Deputy Speaker, in embracing we first, we will constantly be reminded to look to our right and to look to our left to ensure that no one is left behind. In this space, we nurture a caring and values-driven society. We will still move with strength and at a keen cadence for our needs and for our future. Others will know us as a society that is fiercely competitive, but always with empathy and concern for the people who walk alongside, and especially towards those of less privilege. We first speaks of us as a society that does not trample on others for our own gain, that we will not be a racehorse with blinkers and leave others in the dust in order to win at all cost. If we must succeed, we do so with dignity and justice on our side. In schools, we must continue to emphasize values of respect, of responsibility, of integrity, care, and harmony over grades, that it is more dignified to lose in fair play than to win dishonorably. In the workplace, we must be able to recognize and have a care that some of our colleagues have unique challenges and circumstances, whether in terms of mobility, mental well-being, or caregiving demands, that at work, a genuine concern for others percolate. rather than to consider these traits as blameworthy on the basis of output alone. In our neighborhoods, that we exercise some understanding and flexibility with one another, as well as give and take in our common spaces. That in our own actions, what we say and how we go about our day-to-day, we maintain a care and awareness of how others may be impacted by our own actions. That when we take the lift and we interface with our neighbors, a good morning greeting or a how are you helps break the ice, brings warmth to another, and nurtures friendships in our midst. And certainly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the shine of our care for situations and people and the values driven by our ethos of we first knows no boundary or border. For even in our country's decisions, and as a people, we consistently and fervently care about what happens around the world. We have a care to the plight of others of less privilege. We defend against what is unjust, and we lean into being part of the solution. A we-first society means we are not passive bystanders. We bring forth our care and values as part of who we are as a society, in service for a better family, a better community, a better country, and a better world. Mr. Deputy Speaker in Malay, please. Tuan Speaker, sambil kita menggalakkan dan membolehkan konsep we first atau kita dulu untuk berakar, walhal sebenarnya ia amat selaras dan seiring dengan nadi masyarakat kita. Sikap peduli sesama kita seakan perumpamaan di mana apabila satu bahagian badan kurang sihat, bahagian lain turut merasainya. Andai dicubit peha kanan, akan terasa ke peha kiri. Andainya kita terserempak seseorang yang mengalami kecabaran hidup, kesempitan kewangan, kesunyian hati dan penderitaan yang amat berat, naluri masyarakat kita bertindak secara spontan untuk menolong dan mengambil tahu. Tidak asing bagi kita perasaan saling bertanggungjawab, bersikap ihsan, menyayangi antara satu sama lain. Tidak asing juga sikap kesaksamaan dan kebekerjasamaan untuk mencapai kemakmuran bersama. Sambil kita menyeru kepada warga negara Singapura untuk menyandang sikap we first, haluan warisan dan budaya kita membuat tuntutan atas diri kita bahawa kejayaan dan kemajuan bukan setakat meraihkan pencapaian peribadi, tetapi perlu kita gunakannya untuk meraih manfaat bagi yang lain. Malah budaya kita menyeru supaya menyumbang kembali kepada masyarakat seiringan dengan istilah we first. Dalam hal ini, konsep we first tidak hanya terletak pada tanggungjawab pemerintah semata. Ia juga melibatkan kerjasama dengan sektor swasta, perniagaan serta badan-badan kemasyarakatan bagi memperkukuhkan lagi dan memperluas bersama bantuan yang diperlukan untuk memenuhi keperluan masyarakat. Contoh-contoh dalam masyarakat Melayu Islam kita terserlah sekali. Projek Dian yang sekian lama ini memperkasa daya tahan keluarga di flat sewa dengan tenaga sukarelawan-sukarelawan M Kuasa 3 berputik we first. Wakaf masyarakat dikelolakan MUIS yang memikirkan keperluan masa depan masyarakat kita berputik we first. Mengumpul dana bagi madrasah dan masjid, bagi badan-badan kemasyarakatan, bagi mereka yang berkeperluan di Singapura dan bagi mereka yang tertindas di Gaza dan di Palestin, kesemuanya berputik we first. Subsidi yuran pengajian tinggi ataupun TTFS dikelolakan mendaki bagi keluarga-keluarga yang kurang berpendapatan dan membuka peluang anak-anak kita mencapai setinggi-tingginya pengajian, berputik we first. Malah dengan semangat we first yang dikelolakan pemerintah ini, adanya peningkatan dalam masyarakat kita. Kalau tidak kerana TTFS dan pinjaman pembelajaran dari Yayasan Mendaki, sememangnya mustahil saya berdiri di sini. Pegangnya ijazah perubatan di tangan saya dan selanjutnya sebagai satu-satunya pakar psikiatri dalam masyarakat Melayu Islam, sebenarnya keberhasilan pertolongan masyarakat dan skim pertolongan mendaki. Ramai lagi yang mempunyai kisah yang sama. Anak-anak masyarakat yang terhutang budi dan mengorak langkah kerjaya dan mengukir misi dan visi hidup mereka untuk terus menabur bakti kepada generasi yang seterusnya. We first sebenarnya berakar kukuh dan sudah berdaya tahan lama dalam masyarakat kita. Ia merupakan sebahagian daripada nilai dan pegangan kita. Satu kecenderungan sekian lama yang memastikan bahawa sebagai sebuah kolektif, kita saling menjaga antara satu sama lain dan mengambil peduli terhadap apa yang berlaku di sekeliling kita. Inilah kekuatan kita sebagai masyarakat dan ia adalah sesuatu yang harus kita pupuk, perkuatkan dan bangunkan bersama di Singapura. Sesungguhnya, Tuan Deputy Speaker, saya yakin dalam menyahut panggilan We First, Tuan Presiden kita, contoh cerminan etos ini senang terserlah dalam masyarakat kita. Mr. Speaker, all of us are a product of the village that has added and contributed to our success. We have benefited from the work of those who have come before us and have themselves taken the ethos of We First for our benefit today. In turning 60, our success as a nation stems from the effort of early Singaporeans from decades ago. Our past leaders who in their wisdom and acumen put our country first. Our teachers who sowed the first seeds of knowledge in the generation that came after. Our parents who toiled time and effort and put their children first. And what of our public sector and civil servants who continue to ensure our essential services keep going today? Of our uniformed servicemen and servicewomen who keep the peace to give us a strong base from which we can leap forward and achieve more as a country? And of the healthcare workers who save lives day in and day out and keep us well? All their efforts, Mr. Deputy Speaker, embody the spirit of We First. We should never let arrogance creep in and allow ourselves to assume that our success comes only as a result of our own efforts. Many have sacrificed for us to be here, where we are today, as a people and as a country. If we ponder on the term We First, examples are well and alive around us, but perhaps as a society, we can do better to enable, to acknowledge, to encourage, and to appreciate them. Caregiving is We First. National service is We First. Philanthropy and volunteering for community cause is We First. Mentorship to nurture confidence in our young is We First. Saving for a rainy day and ensuring we have sufficient reserves for generations to come is We First. Addressing climate change for a better tomorrow and environment is We First. And having tough laws against the scourge of drugs to protect our families is We First. Mr. Deputy Speaker, We First is the very thread that stitches, weaves, and reinforces our social fabric to weather tomorrow's storm. If there is no We First, we will instead be pulling from multiple polar and opposing ends, and the tension will fray and tear us apart into lonely factions and singular isolated pieces that will not stand against the wind. Worse still, instead of the beautiful societal tapestry to be admired, we could be left with tattered and torn pieces beyond repair. We must continue to passionately mend, to work on, to preserve, and to double-stitch our social fabric now more than ever. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the motion.